We didn't just demote it, we erased it. In 2006, a room full of scientists voted, and with a single show of hands, stripped Pluto of everything it had ever been. No longer a planet, no longer worthy, just a frozen piece of rubble tumbling through the dark at the edge of everything we know. We moved on, we forgot about it. But Pluto didn't forget about us. Picture this, you are moving at 50,000 miles per hour. You have been moving at 50,000 miles per hour for 9.5 years. The Earth behind you is now so small, it has vanished entirely, swallowed by the black. The sun, that blinding furnace that warms your skin and grows your food and keeps every living thing on Earth alive, is now just a bright dot, barely brighter than the stars around it. You are 4 billion miles from home, and you are about to see something that will make scientists go completely silent. When the New Horizons probe finally sent back its first clear image of Pluto in July 2015, the first thing anyone noticed wasn't the mountains, it wasn't the atmosphere, it wasn't the moons, it was a heart, right there, stretched across the equator of this forgotten world. A massive, perfectly shaped heart, glowing pale white against the dark rust-colored surface. The internet lost its mind. People called it adorable, a cosmic love letter from the edge of the solar system, but the scientists staring at their screens weren't smiling, because they knew what that heart actually was. That heart is a wound, a scar left by something enormous that struck Pluto billions of years ago, carving out a basin nearly 1,000 miles wide. Scientists named it Sputnik Planitia, and over billions of years that ancient crater slowly filled, not with water, not with lava, but with something far stranger, solid nitrogen, a glacier made entirely of frozen nitrogen, methane and carbon monoxide, a toxic pale ocean of ice stretching across Pluto's face like an open eye staring up at the void. But here is where it stops being a dead rock and starts being something else entirely. That glacier is alive. Deep beneath Pluto's surface, the radioactive decay of ancient rock still generates a faint, dying warmth. Just enough, just barely enough, to cause the frozen nitrogen at the bottom of that glacier to slowly, silently boil. The entire surface churns in slow motion. Massive convection cells rolling like a pot of thick, freezing soup, each one hundreds of miles across, taking thousands of years to complete a single turn, and anything that falls into it, any asteroid, any debris, any rock from the outer dark, gets pulled under, slowly, silently, erased without a trace. The heart of Pluto consumes everything it touches, and it leaves no evidence behind. Stand on the shore of that toxic glacier and look up. What you see will not make sense. Mountains, enormous, jagged, razor-edged mountains, some over 10,000 feet tall, rising from the edge of the white plain like broken teeth. On Earth, mountains are made of rock. On Pluto, at minus 390 degrees Fahrenheit, water ice is no longer soft. It is harder than steel. Those peaks are made of solid water ice, compressed and sharpened over billions of years into blades. But they are not attached to the ground. Water ice is less dense than frozen nitrogen. So these mountain ranges, some the size of the European Alps, simply float. They break off from the edges of the continent, drift out across the toxic sea, and slowly migrate across the surface of Pluto like wandering giants. A mountain range moving silently toward you. And if you look at the peaks of those floating mountains, you will notice the snow is wrong. It is not white, it is dark red, almost the color of dried blood. When the faint ultraviolet light from the distant sun strikes the frozen methane on Pluto's surface, it triggers a slow chemical reaction, building complex organic molecules called tholins. They fall from the sky in a permanent, silent, rust-colored snowfall, coating every surface, every peak, every valley in a layer of dark crimson dust, a world of floating mountains, stained red, drifting through a black sky. For decades we assumed Pluto was frozen solid all the way through, a dead ball of ice and rock with nothing left to offer. Then the math stopped working. The weight of the nitrogen glacier should have been enough to slowly tip Pluto over millions of years, rolling it until the heavy side faced down. But Pluto never rolled. It stayed perfectly balanced, and the only explanation that fits, the only model that makes the physics work, is that something massive is sitting directly beneath the glacier, acting as a counterweight, something liquid. Scientists now believe that beneath Pluto's frozen crust, kept from freezing by the crushing pressure of miles of ice above and the last dying warmth from below, there is an ocean of liquid water, vast, dark, completely sealed from the universe above it. In the coldest, most remote corner of the solar system, a place we threw away, there may be a liquid ocean that has existed for billions of years. And in that ocean there is no light, there is no warmth, there is no connection to anything above. But on Earth we have found life in places exactly like that. In the crushing dark beneath Antarctic ice. In boiling hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. Life that needs nothing from the sun. Life that simply finds a way. We don't know what is in Pluto's ocean. We have never looked. As New Horizons pulled away, speeding deeper into the outer dark, never to return, it turned its camera back one final time, and it caught Pluto eclipsing the sun. In that image, Pluto is a perfect black circle, a silhouette of pure darkness. But around its edge, thin, delicate, impossibly beautiful, is a glowing ring of blue, an atmosphere. Pluto has a sky, and that sky is blue. A world we called dead, a world we threw away. Glowing blue at the edge of everything, Pluto does not orbit alone. Locked in a gravitational embrace with it is Charon, its largest moon, so massive relative to Pluto that neither one truly orbits the other. They orbit an empty point of space between them, spinning around a void, a binary system of two exiled worlds holding each other in the dark. They are tidally locked, frozen face to face forever. If you stand on one side of Pluto, Charon hangs enormous and motionless in the black sky, never rising, never setting, just watching. Walk to the other side of Pluto, and Charon disappears entirely. You will never see it from there, not once, not ever. And Charon carries its own wound. Its north pole is stained with a vast, dark red patch. Gas that escaped from Pluto's own atmosphere drifted across the void between them and froze onto its moon. Two worlds sharing the same bleeding sky, holding each other at the edge of the solar system. Around them, four tiny moons, Nix, Hydra, Kerberos, and Styx, tumble in chaotic, unpredictable orbits. They don't spin cleanly, they wobble, they tumble, as if they were shattered from something larger long ago and never quite recovered. We took away its title, we called it small, we called it insignificant. We moved on. But Pluto is still out there right now as you hear this, drifting through the dark on its 248-year orbit, its toxic heart still churning, its red snow still falling, its floating mountains still moving in silence. It doesn't need our validation, it never did, but here is the thing that keeps planetary scientists awake at night. We sent one spacecraft. Once. We flew past it at 50,000 miles per hour and had roughly 1 day to take pictures before it was gone. We captured less than 1% of what Pluto might be hiding. We saw one hemisphere. We mapped one surface. We barely scratched the edge of what is there. That subsurface ocean, if it exists, has been sealed beneath the ice for potentially 4 billion years. 4 billion years of complete isolation. Whatever chemistry has been happening down there in the dark, under the pressure, in the liquid. It has had 4 billion years to go wherever it wants to go. We don't have a probe in orbit around Pluto. We don't have a lander on its surface. We have no way of knowing what is happening there right now. And here is the question that no one can answer. Not yet. Maybe not ever with what we currently have. What if we already passed over the most important discovery in the history of science, and we were moving too fast to notice? Pluto is still out there, still waiting, still keeping its secrets in the dark, and we have not gone back.